Did Rogers Communications just execute the most controversial takeover in Canadian sports history? We're talking about a $4.7 billion corporate invasion that gives one media giant unprecedented control over We the North. This isn't just another ownership shuffle. This is the most dangerous concentration of power in Canadian basketball, and the timing with our championship architect getting bounced couldn't be more suspicious. The telecom overlords now control everything from Scotiabank Arena to the airwaves, and I'm about to reveal why this corporate monopoly might be the worst thing that's ever happened to championship basketball in the 60s. What's up, Raptors Nation? Quick Court coming in hot with the corporate takeover analysis that nobody wants to discuss. Hope you're ready to dive deep into the $4. $7 billion power grab that just put our entire franchise under telecom control. Will Rogers actually improve our championship chances, or are we about to become corporate puppets in a media empire? Drop your concerns in the comments, because I'm about to break down why this deal has basketball purists absolutely terrified. Rogers Communications has officially closed the deal to become the majority owner of Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment, purchasing BCE's 37.5% stake for a staggering $4.7 billion. This means Rogers now controls 75% of MLSE, giving them unprecedented power over the Toronto Raptors, Maple Leafs, Argonauts, and Toronto FC. But here's what should terrify every basketball fan. We now have a telecom company making basketball decisions. Think about what this really means. Rogers controls Sportsnet, the Rogers Center, and now our entire franchise. They have a vertical monopoly on Toronto sports entertainment that gives them power no single corporation should have over. Professional athletics. When one company controls the team, the building, the broadcast rights, and the narrative, where exactly does the conflict of interest end? The timing of recent front office changes raises serious questions about Rogers' priorities. Are these basketball decisions or corporate decisions? When a telecom giant starts reshuffling championship-level management, you have to wonder if they understand what actually wins games versus what looks good in boardroom presentations. Here's the concerning reality. Rogers has never successfully run a championship basketball organization. They know media, they know telecommunications, but do they know the intricate art of building sustainable championship culture in the North? The Blue Jays have been under Rogers' ownership for years, and their track record should make every dinosaur fan nervous about what comes next for our rebuild. What's most troubling is how this concentration of power affects decision-making independence. When the same company that broadcasts Raptors games on Sportsnet also owns the team, how objective can Jack Armstrong and Matt Devlin really be when corporate executives start influencing basketball operations? How long before profit margins become more important than making it back to the playoffs? We've already seen this with Masai getting the boot, reportedly because Edward Rogers personally didn't like him. According to Basketball Insiders, the track record speaks for itself, and it should have every member of Raptor Nation worried. Look at how Rogers has managed their other sports properties. The Jays have had moments of success, but they've also had long stretches of mediocrity under Rogers' ownership. Corporate efficiency doesn't always translate to championship culture in the North. And that's what has basketball purists terrified about our future. Rogers now has complete control over how our beloved Raptors get covered in the media. Sportsnet won't be providing independent analysis anymore. There'll be corporate cheerleaders for their own investment. Critical coverage becomes impossible when the same company paying the analysts also owns the team being analyzed. This creates a dangerous echo chamber where problems get overlooked and hard truths about our rebuild get buried. What about player development and our young core? Rogers brings telecommunications expertise, not basketball wisdom. When corporate executives start influencing draft picks and player acquisitions based on marketability rather than on-court impact, championship aspirations become secondary to profit margins. We've seen this story before with other franchises in the league, and it rarely ends well for the faithful fans. Are you starting to see why this deal has basketball insiders genuinely concerned? Rogers may have deep pockets, but money alone doesn't guarantee championship success. Building sustainable winning culture requires basketball intelligence, not just corporate. Resources. When boardroom politics start overriding basketball operations, fans are the ones who suffer through years of mediocrity. If you're wondering how this corporate takeover might affect our championship aspirations, make sure you hit that subscribe button, because we're going to be monitoring every Rodgers decision and its impact on basketball operations. The most dangerous precedent this sets is prioritizing corporate synergy over basketball excellence. When the same company owns your team, your arena, your broadcast rights, and your media coverage, independence dies. Every decision gets filtered through corporate interests rather than pure basketball logic. This isn't speculation. This is exactly what happens when media conglomerates take over sports franchises. Recent front office changes already show how corporate thinking conflicts with basketball wisdom. The dismissal of Masai Ujiri, the architect of our 2019 championship, after 13 seasons, raises serious questions about Rodgers' basketball priorities. When you fire the executive who delivered the most important trophy in franchise history while extending other front office members, it suggests corporate politics might be overriding basketball logic. Championship teams need basketball minds making basketball decisions, not telecom executives optimizing for corporate compatibility. Here's what really keeps me up at night. Rodgers has $4.7 billion invested in this deal, and they're going to want returns that satisfy shareholders, not necessarily championships that satisfy fans. When quarterly earnings become more important than playoff seeding, the competitive culture that defines championship organizations starts to erode. The vertical integration creates conflicts that no sports franchise should have to navigate. How do you criticize coaching decisions when your media division needs to maintain relationships? How do you demand front office accountability when the same corporation controls both the team and its coverage? These aren't theoretical problems. They're about to become our daily reality. The corporate takeover of Canadian sports is complete, but at what cost to competitive integrity and championship culture? Rodgers has the money and the media power, but do they have the basketball wisdom to maintain what makes professional sports special? The concentration of power raises serious questions about whether profit motives will ultimately override championship aspirations. What do you think about Rodgers gaining this much control over our franchise? Are you confident that corporate executives will prioritize championships over quarterly earnings? Or do you worry about the long-term impact on basketball operations? Drop your thoughts in the comments below and let's get this conversation started. If you want to stay ahead of how this corporate takeover affects our championship hopes, make sure you're subscribed to Quick Court with notifications turned on. Until next time, Raptors Nation, remember that championship culture comes from basketball passion, not corporate boardrooms. We the North represents a mentality that no amount of corporate restructuring can change. Peace out.